This is Pastor Timothy Engel of Messiah Lutheran Church. It is a pleasure to welcome you to this production of A Century of Music, part of our congregation's 100th anniversary celebration. The music presented to you today will be performed by our Director of Music, Aaron Jackson, and his wife, Charlotte. I certainly hope you enjoy their performance, and it is my pleasure to give you Aaron and Charlotte Jackson.
So the first couple of songs we will do, I kind of titled Music of Yesterday. Throughout the recital, we'll go through kind of the history of the church. So at the beginning, we'll be listening to songs that were from around the time period the church was started in 1923. In the middle section is music throughout the years, which it'll be more focused on the Lutheran side of music throughout that 100-year span. And then at the end, we'll have the music of today, which will be the most recent music. The first piece I will be playing is Festival Toccata by Percy Fletcher. He was a British composer, born in 1879. He was self-taught, but his parents were both musical. In 1915, he was appointed as the musical director at His Majesty's Theatre until his death in 1932. And he wrote mostly for brass band, but he wrote a few other things like this organ piece, some small orchestra settings, string quartet, and some choir things as well. This piece is dedicated and written for Edwin Lemaire, who is an English organist and composer, who is one of the most highly regarded and highly paid organists of his generation. So this is Festival Toccata by Percy Fletcher. Our next piece is Largo from the New World Symphony, which is very familiar to a lot of people, and partially for good reason. If you were to go and look at practically any recital program in the early 20th century, there's a 90% chance that Largo from New World Symphony was on it. It was just very popular. It was written in 1893 while Anton Dvorak, was the director of the National Conservatory of Music in America in New York. Now, he was a Czech composer, and so coming over to America, he was influenced a lot by the music of the Native Americans and African American spirituals of the, quote, New World, that being America. And this is one of the most popular symphonies of all time, and a recording of it was even taken by Neil Armstrong along the Apollo 11 mission to the moon. So this is Largo from New World Symphony. next piece will feature Charlotte on the piano alone. This is Scotch, Strapsy, and Reel by Percy Granger. It's a bit of an interesting piece. I will read a selection from the inside cover of the music itself by Percy Granger. In Scottish dancing, the strathspey and reel are often danced one after the other without a break, the more restrained character of the strathspey merging subtly into the more rollicking steps of the reel. It is curious how many Celtic dance tunes there are, so alike in their harmonic schemes that any number of them can be played together and at the same time and mingle harmoniously. Sometimes a sea shanty will fit in flawlessly with such a group of Celtic tunes. In the original form of this piece, for 22 performers, the 6 Scotch and Irish tunes and half tunes, and the What Shall We Do with the Drunken Sailor sea shanty are heard together at one moment. But of course, no such polyphonic conglomeration could be undertaken on the piano. And so this version was, quote, dished up for piano by the composer, Percy Granger. So this is the Scotch, Strathspey, and Reel. section of music we'll go through is called Music Through the Years. And this is all Lutheran-based music over the lifetime of the church, so within the last 100 years. The first set of pieces I will be playing are two hymn preludes by Charles Orr. First one is I Am Jesus' Little Lamb, and the second is With High Delight. Charles Orr is an organist and a retired professor of music at Concordia University, Nebraska. He's known by many for his 11 compositions for organ series that's been published by Concordia Publishing House for over 50 years. I Am Jesus' Little Lamb from set 5 is dedicated in memory of Erica Steiner, who lived from 1975 to only 1981, and includes Erica's note, a high G, which is to be held by a small child. Charlotte will be holding that today. When my home church dedicated their new organ in 2006, I held this note when my Aunt Pam Tamburillo performed this piece at the dedication concert. In With High Delight from set 2, it's in a trio style with 3 independent parts: a left-hand ostinato, a right-hand accompaniment, and the hymn tune played down in the pedal. So here are 2 hymn preludes by Charles Orr. we'll need your help, actually. This is the Hymn of Celebration. This hymn was written in 1973, actually, for the 50th anniversary of this church. It uses a tune out of the Lutheran hymnal in the pews in front of you, but all of the text was written by Carl T. Schessau. He was the first called instructor at the Messiah School and was also the principal and the choir director and the organist and just about anything else you could think of besides being the pastor. But we will be singing this now, so let's do that. This is the Hymn of Celebration by Carl Schessau. Excellent job singing. You won't find that hymn in any hymnal anywhere. The next piece, you have, if you go to church here, you've definitely heard me play it before for a postlude. It is God of Grace by Paul Mons. He was a Lutheran composer, a musician, and cantor of Mount Olive Lutheran Church in Minneapolis. He was most famous for doing all of these improvisations before hymn tunes and before hymns and preludes and postludes. So, 9 times out of 10, he didn't have music, but would just improvise for 5 minutes for the introduction or something. And then they were so popular that people had him write them down. So now you can buy books of his improvisations. And this is in one of them. There's a running rumor that this particular composition was directly after a rather long and tedious sermon that I guess Paul Mons didn't really care about. So there's a little bit of a joke hidden in the music. So see if you can catch it. It's at the very beginning. This is God of Grace by Paul Mons. that finishes our Music Through the Years section. So now it brings us to the music of today. What does that mean? All of these pieces were written sometime within the last 20 years or so. One of them was written about a year ago, so that's pretty recent. But the first piece we will play, Charlotte and I will be playing a duet on Immortal, Invisible, God Only Wise by Mark Hayes and Marvin Gaspard. I will read some of the hymn for you right now. Immortal, invisible, God only wise, in light inaccessible, hid from our eyes. Most blessed, most glorious, the Ancient of Days, almighty, victorious, thy great name we praise. Great Father of glory, pure Father of light, thine angels adore thee, all veiling their sight. All laud we would render, O hope us to see, 'tis only the splendor of light that hides thee. This is Immortal, Invisible. Our last piece on the program today is an interesting one. Some might be asking, well, what is Gabe? But Gabe is the comfort dog we have here at Messiah Lutheran Church. We use him as an outreach to take places that need some extra comfort or just some relaxation. He's made many trips recently, unfortunately, to some of the school shootings, like in Uvalde, and made other trips weekly, to the schools near us at Memorial Elementary and Lutheran High North. So about a couple weeks into my time here at Messiah, it was Gabe's, I think, 4th anniversary of his service here at Messiah, because I believe they got them in 2017. This was in 21, I guess. And so for that Sunday, I came up with this piece, which is actually 4 smaller pieces that I played for the prelude and the postlude. And so the main theme of the piece is based off of his name. His name is Gabriel, but for short, everyone calls him Gabe. And so the main theme of the piece uses those notes of the scale, and it sounds like this. And that is Gabe's name in music. So that theme gets passed around for 4 different variations. We'll have just the theme at first. Second one I like to call Puppy Days. The third is Comfort, and the fourth is Off Duty, which if you know Gabe, you know that when he takes off of his vest, he's just a normal dog and likes to run all over the place. But this is Variations on Gabe by me.